Did you know that over 90% of financial advisors struggle to grow beyond their current income level, or that the average financial advisor earns just about $100,000 per year in take-home pay, despite being years in the industry? Friends, it doesn't have to be this way. Today, we're going to uncover the exact reasons why financial advisors fail to double their income in the next 12 months and the proven steps you can take to shatter through your current glass ceiling. So here we go. Let's get started. Point number one. What if I told you that your inability to focus on the right thing is costing you the success that you desire and deserve? That's right. Diluted focus equals diluted results. That's the statement that my coach tells me on a regular basis. Hey, Goodbread, diluted focus equals diluted results. You see, oftentimes we, especially us entrepreneur advisors, we spread ourselves so thin. We think of 1,000 things that we can do. We want to go over here and we want to post on LinkedIn. We want to post on Instagram. We want to do a podcast. We want to do a YouTube channel, and we want to write a book, and we don't have a structure in which we can scale that. Or we want to speak at this event, or we want to go to this networking event, or we're going to take on this client, or we're going to take on this client, and thus we get diluted results. I want you to think about it this way. Let's assume that I have $10 to grow my business and you have $10 to grow your business. And I'm going to take my $10 and I'm going to deploy all 10 of them into one thing and one thing only. On the other hand, you're going to take your $10 and you're going to spread them across the field. You're going to push a little bit here, a little bit here into 10 different areas. Who do you think is going to get the greatest results? Me or you? Well, I am. Why? Because I can hyper-focus my dollars intentionally into the one area that I need to focus on to drive that area forward. And thus, I'm going to move that area substantially over a shorter period of time. Let's get practical with it. Let's say that I want to focus on Instagram. Just use that as an example for my marketing ploy. If I'm able to put $10 or $10 worth of time and resources into that one platform, I'm going to master that platform much more exponentially than you will if you're only putting $1, in my metaphor, my example, into that platform. So whenever we dilute our focus, we dilute our results. It's really the Perdeo principle of 80-20. And the way I like to talk about it is 80-20 squared. It's what is that 4% of the actions that you needed to work on in your practice today to move the needle forward exponentially? You see, the reason why our income does not double in a 12-month time frame is because we're not focused on doing the actions and the tasks needed to double our income. I know all of us desire more income. We do. We desire more income because it's a result of us helping and impacting many more lives. But without focus, intense, extreme focus on the things that matter, friends, we get diluted results. Let's think about the power of that word focus. Follow one course until successful. Follow one course. Yet so many of us as technicians, because let's be candid, as financial advisors, we were taught the technical side of the financial planning world, but we weren't taught the business side of financial planning. And that's not unusual, friends. In my previous practice, I would teach dentists and chiropractors and veterinarians. We call them entrepreneur doctors. They knew their craft. They knew how to make an adjustment or treat an animal or deal with a major mouth overhaul, but they didn't know the business side. And as they were working in that chair or working with that patient or with that pet, then they had to rely on their team to drive their practice forward. We're no different. Oftentimes, we're stuck in a room working with our client on the technical side, and yet we have our office outside moving forward. Many times, everybody is doing what they think they need to do, and we don't have focus to that one outcome. And so therefore we get diluted results. I don't know about you, but I desire to win at the game of business. I want to impact as many people as possible. With this new venture I'm on, I want to impact literally thousands of financial advisors. I want to show financial advisors that there is a path forward that you can take your current income, your current value, your current net worth, and you could double your net worth every 2 to 3 years. You can reach decamillionaire status in as little as 4 years. Friends, you can do that, but you will not achieve perhaps your dreams unless you singularly focus on the things that matter most. Now, according to the Harvard Business Review, 80% of our results comes from 20% of our efforts. But most of us, especially as financial advisors, we spend 80% of our time on the low value activities. This is why you're going to be stuck. This is why your income is not going to double in the next 12 months. So if you want to double your income over the next 12 months as a financial advisor, focus on doing the activities which yield the effect of a doubled income. That's number one. Okay, number two, if you can't tell me exactly where you want to be in the next 3 years and what you're doing in the next 90 days to get there, you're already behind. The lack of clear long-term goals broken into short actions will prevent you from doubling your income. You see, most of us, we send them meetings with clients and we ask them a question like, where do you see yourselves in retirement? When do you want to retire? What's your future look like over the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years? And in my journey of a financial advisor for over 2 decades, sitting in front of thousands of people talking on stages, so many times the people that come to us seeking help, they can't articulate where they want to be. And then we're really good at trying to help them craft this vision. Well, do you dream of vacations? Do you dream of a paid for house? Do you dream of college paid for your kids? Do you dream of traveling? Do you dream of, and we make the list and the client gets clarity over time on where they're headed. As advisors, I know we desire to gain more clients. I know we desire to increase our income. I know we desire to build a book of business that we can take care of, that can provide us and also provide transferable value. However, most advisors, and I talk to literally thousands a year, we can't articulate our goals because we've never taken the time to define our goals for ourselves. Think about it. We jumped in this industry. We had to learn the technical side. Many of us did not go to school underneath the formal curriculum to learn how to be a financial planner. So we come in, we jump in, we start swimming or sinking type mentality. And so we make it. And then we're going out and having to gain clients and we're trying to sell. But we really never take a step back and say, why am I doing this and where do I want to be? Now, for us as planners, we have to juggle, if you will, all areas of business. We have to deal with leadership and planning and sales and marketing. Marketing. We have to deal with that. We have to deal with operations. What software? How are we going to deal with our teams? How are we going to motivate them? How are we going to prevent employee turnover? We have to deal with our finance section of our business. We have to know what KPIs we're hitting, all the different things within the company that are numeric in nature. When we have to look at our compliance, compliance. We have all these things that we have to deal with as practitioners, but we also have to be a practitioner to our clients. And so in order for us to determine the exact action steps that we need to take over the next 90 days, we really have to take a longer firm view and say, where do we want to be? The same thing we do with clients. Hey, okay, you want to retire at age 65? Great. How much income do you need? Is that pre-tax? Is that after tax? Great. Okay. And we start asking the questions and we can articulate and calculate and bring them back to hey, here are the steps you need to take today. And it could be as simple as you've seen in some of your client situation. Hey, you really need to increase your contribution to your retirement account from 12% to 18% this year. That's the one baby step. You need to move right now. And we need to update your wheels. We make it that simple for our clients, but for us, we never take the time. There's an interesting study that I read from the Dominican University that said that people who have clear written goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. So I'm going to ask you the question. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? It's been said where you want to be 5 years from now is determined by the books you read and the people you associate with today. Friends, if you set out your destination, you're more likely to achieve it. So I'm going to challenge you, if you want to double your income over the next 12 months, where do you want to be specifically? Get specific and then create a 90-day action step. Number 3, are you listening to advice from too many sources only to find yourself more confused and further from your goals? You see, the third point I have is that conflicting advisors and conflicting advice leads to confusion and wasted time. You know, as a financial advisor, I sat across the table from many people who had good intentions and they didn't really know me in my younger days. I didn't really have the clout as I do today in the financial industry. And they would sit down with me and they would say, hey, Goodbread, I have this. And let's just, for example purposes, let's say they had $1 million, just for the round number. I have $1 million here and I've been working on this portfolio for 20 years. And I think I can trust you. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you $300,000 for you to see what you can do with it. And I got this other guy over here. I'm going to give him $300,000 to see what he can do with it. And I got this lady over here. I'm going to give her $300,000 and see what they can do with it. I'm going to keep $100,000 and see what I can do with it. And at the end of this next period of time, whoever's done the best, that's who I'm going to use. I've actually had that conversation many times. And candidly, you probably have had the conversation, not that maybe extreme, but conversation of, well, I'm going to keep some back and I'm going to do my thing and you're going to do your thing and I'm going to see who does best. The reality is in those situations, I actually had the audacity to say, yes, I use that word tactically. I had the audacity to say, man, you're just not right for me. You're not the right client. I can remember doing this with somebody who had about $60 million in value. They wanted me to take on a small portion. They were going to do this. I said, you're not the right client. You need to go work with somebody else. And he just looked at me. And it would have been like an $8 million portfolio. And I remember sitting in that room and I said, you're just not the right client to me. You see, I'm selfish. I want to take all the reward, all the accolades, or all the blame. I want to be the person that you lean into, that whenever you need advice, you come to me first. I'm greedy like that. Yes, I want to be that person. You see, we financial advisors, we love learning. So I'm learning in my coaching. And my coach made this statement. He said, we were talking. He said, how many books did you read this last year, Goodbread? And I said, and I bet I read 60 to 70 books. He goes, how much did you apply? I said, unlike a lot of people, I applied a lot. He goes, and there's your problem. And I went, what? He goes, you have so much information coming that you don't have a filter in this environment that you're working with today because you've never built it before. You don't know how to filter it out to know what is applicable and what is not. You know, as financial advisors, because we love to learn, we read this book, or we go to this conference, or we listen to this podcast, or we have this coach, we have these various people, and they're all talking to us, and we grab these things, and we run back to our office, and we as I say, we vomit on our team, and they're like, oh, here we go again. And ultimately, we end up being confused. And we don't get the movement that we desire within our business. How do I know? Because of our income. Let me ask you a question. Have you doubled your income ever in your industry? Why? Well, could it be that you're getting conflicting advice? Could it be that perhaps now, because you've never built a firm before, that you are not able to decipher? The reality is yes. You see, here's an interesting statistic. McKinsey & Company reports that 76% of high performing individuals credit a single coach or a single mentor in helping them break through plateaus. I hired my coach, paid him a lot of money, but then I hired him and I leaned into his advice. Why? Because he had already done what I wanted to do years before. He'd already read the book. In fact, he ran the marathon. He had been there, done that. And so I could lean into his advice. Now, does that mean that I didn't get training from others? No. He would say, hey, Goodbread, we need to get a trainer here to help us on this particular funnel within your business as marketing. That's not an area that I'm proficient in. I can see there's some problems, but we need to hire a coach for that. This last year, we had a dynamic year. We opened our Financially Simple, our coaching business up for clients in August, and we finished the year up with greater than 6 figures in revenue. I want you to think about what I just said. An industry that I've never been in before, followed all my methodologies, and then within 6 months had 6 figures in revenue. Most financial advisors can't do that. What do I accredit that to? One coach that helped me focus and sub-coaches with hyper niche. I had a hyper niche coach for my fitness. I wanted a fitness coach. I had a hyper niche coach for my dietary needs. I had a hyper niche coach to help me with Instagram specifically. I had a hyper niche coach to help me with YouTube specifically. I had a coach to help me with High Level, a software program that I didn't want to try to figure out. We had our coach to help us with that. We had these hyper niche coaches, but I also had my coach leaning into me and saying, hey, here's the picture. Here's how we're going to do that. And 6 months into it, we had a 6-figure breakthrough. Let me ask you a question. Are you getting so much information that is leading you to confusion? If so, you will not double your income in the next 12 months. Friends, if you want to double your income in the next 12 months, like we would tell a client, pick that advisor. Like I told the client, man, find you that one advisor that you can trust. Lean into their advice. It doesn't have to be me. In fact, if you don't want me, fine. Find your advisor that you can trust and lean into their advice. And that way you can move dynamically forward. Whenever I did that with my coach, man, it changed my life. Find you one coach that you can trust, lean into their advice, and go forward. And just perhaps, like McKinsey said, 76% of your results could come from leaning into that coach's philosophy. Okay, number 4, every time we say yes to something small, we're saying no to something that could 10x our business. Friends, my 4th point for you to double your income over the next 12 months is this, and that is Master the art of saying no. No. In my early days in the financial world, I can remember I was 22 years old. And man, if somebody wanted to book an appointment with me, I would move heaven and earth to go sit down with them because I knew that I could sell them my widget. I can remember this one exact example. In fact, I drove by there the other day through Sevierville, Tennessee on my way to my mountain house. We have a retreat coming up there with financial advisors here in a few weeks, and we're going to be doing a 2-day intensive of tearing their practice apart. We have 3 advisors coming to town. Hey, look, if you're interested in that, maybe drop us a note and we'll let you know when the next one's coming. But as I was driving by this location, I see this store. And I looked at Emily and I said, I don't know if I ever told you this, Emily, the individual who owns this store, they reached out to me my very first year in business, and they told me they had $3,000 to put into an IRA. And I drove all the way up here. I spent 2 hours with them. I did all the paperwork myself, and then they put the $3,000 into the IRA. She goes, okay. I said, no, here's what you might not understand, Emily. I only made top line revenue $30 off that client. And she said, well, that wasn't very smart. I was like, yeah, I was so hungry. That should have been an opportunity I said no to. But many of us, because we don't have a clear action step, we chase everything, as the old saying goes, we'll work with anybody who'll fog a mirror. So every time we say yes to a client, or yes to a meeting, or yes to a new strategy, or yes, or yes, or yes, it very well could be distracting us from the very thing that could 10x or double our income in the next 12 months. I can remember my coach telling me, Justin, you're too smart for your own good, son. You're too smart for your own good. You can do a lot of things. You're naturally gifted. You can do a lot of things. But if you do these things, you'll not achieve your goal. He taught me the value of focusing in on that 20%. On that 4% number. Focus on that. Say no to everything else. This last year, I tried intentionally to say no more than I ever had in my life. And you know what happened? My income shot through the roof on my new business, blew through all estimations that we had through my coaching company, shot through the roof, and I took more time off. I had a blast. It was an unbelievable year. I was able to play with all of my businesses, and I took that philosophy and I deployed it in my businesses, and I made more money last year in 2024 than I have in any year of my life. And I took more time off, and I enjoyed my family and my freedom more than ever. Why did that come about? Why? Because I learned to say no to distractions. And I learned to say yes to high impact tasks. I prioritize client acquisitions. I prioritize strategic planning. I prioritize relationship building. And I got away from all the other noise. Research shows that multitasking can reduce our productivity by up to 40%. Saying no allows you to focus. Go back to my very first point. Allows you to focus on what matters most. So friends, if you want to double your income as a financial advisor over the next 12 months, and I know you do, learn the art of saying no. No. Let's identify in your practice what will yield that result, and everything else is, nope, not going to do it. Okay, we've reached the 5th point. My 5th point is this. Are you speaking to yourself, your clients, and your ideal prospects in a way that drives the results you desire, in a way that will yield you a doubling of your income? You see, speaking to the right people in the right way every single day matters. So let's look at all 3 of those people. First of all, yourself. Self-talk matters, friends. So when you talk to yourself, maybe replace with things like I might or I could with I will. In fact, yesterday I was recording a little snippet on the farm there for Instagram. I actually made this statement. I think this will be the year. And I said, nope, this will be the year. See, I even caught myself saying a word of negativity, a word of doubt to myself. And I don't want that seed in my mind. My mind has to say, no, this is going to be the year that I'm going to accomplish this. So self-talk matters, number 1. Number 2 is how you engage your clients, how you speak to your clients. I've learned something. Here's a nugget. Here's a nugget from 30 years as a business owner. I want you to take this nugget and try it. See what happens. I've learned that if I'm openly authentic with my clients about my business, they're more involved, they refer more, and they're more engaged than ever before. I've learned that. You see, whenever I was building up my company, Heritage Investors, for that 8-figure exit, I would tell my clients, hey, this is what we accomplished this last year. Here's what we achieved this last quarter. And the clients who were with me the longest, the longer they were with me, they were like on the edge of their seat, almost like in a movie theater, eating popcorn, like, dude, this is amazing. I'm so happy for you. Hey, by the way, I was just telling my friend about you the other day and how you're growing your company, how you appeared in Forbes and how you're on this podcast and how I saw you on TV and he wants to talk with you. Why? Because as I was engaging my clients on my vision, on my journey, they began engaging along with me and they wanted to see me succeed in the same light that I wanted to see them succeed in their retirement, getting their kids to college, whatever it was in their journey. I'm owning that goal that they have. Guess what? They own the goal themselves. They reach out and they're like, hey, Goodbread, how'd last year go? Speaking to the right people in the right way help us master our goals. As we are talking, we're talking to ourselves in good self-talk. We're talking with our clients as we're openly sharing about what we're doing in our companies, but we're also talking to our prospective clients. We're designing our message to solve their unique pain point in their lives. I say it often. Once you, as a financial advisor, dwell over that client, that specific client's pain points more than they have, and you're able to put that pain point out there in the ethos, whenever that pain point arrives and they start looking, they're going to discover you and they're going to like, oh my goodness, this person just spoke the exact same pain point that I'm experiencing. Let me talk to them. You see, we've got to design our everything we say to ourselves, to our team, to our clients, to our prospect. Everything has to be in an alignment. And friends, if we do that, we have the potential to double our income in the next 12 months. McKinsey said this: businesses that use personalized messaging align with customer pain points see a 20% increase in engagement on average. I can tell you from firsthand experience, and this is not academic, this is from the trenches, building financial advisory practices for over 2 decades. I can tell you firsthand, whenever I was talking negative to myself, my entire team, client base, everything knew it. That was number one. Whenever I was not sharing what was happening in the business, the referrals would dry up, my leads would dry up, my energy would dry up. It would just get dismal. And then finally, when I got off message and I wasn't addressing their pain point, their specific needs, their specific desires, and showing them a pathway from where they're at to where they want to be, whenever I moved off that position with a prospect and I started talking about my knowledge or my accolades or my books or all these things, that would dry up. So friends, if you want to double your revenue as a financial advisor over the next 12 months, if you want to do that, how are you speaking? It matters. Number 6, what if the only thing standing between you and doubling your income is understanding your avatar's problems better than they do? I just kind of mentioned this, but I want to dive deeper because this is a heartfelt position. This is something, friends, whenever I discovered this and when my coach began honing me in and saying, Goodbread, you're off the mark. Stop. No, come back over here. Whenever I began obsessing over my avatar's problems more than they did, friends, we won. So let me challenge you. First of all, do you have an avatar? I have a client that I'm coaching right now in a one-on-one environment, and we were talking. And he originally gave me an avatar list that was broad. Here's broad. And I said, man, it's awful broad. I don't think I would use this personally. We need to narrow this. And he narrowed it down. Finally came back to, I work with business owners. I'm like, well, man, you're still broad. He's like, yeah, but I have half of this and half of this, and I don't know which one of these I want to work with. I'm like, okay, so we know we work in this. Let's define a little bit more. So we began defining it. And I gave him an assignment. I said, here's what I'd like for you to do. I would like for you to identify 25 specific problems that each of these avatars face, and I want you to rank them in order, and we're going to focus on the top 3. Now, it took him a few weeks to think through this. He interviewed some people, came back with a list of 25, and he had them ranked, and he said, man, Justin, every single person I spoke to, these were the top 3 things. I said, great. Then what we began doing is we began creating solutions for these specific 3 pain points. And then we began speaking to these 3 specific pain points from a litany of things that we teach in our academy. And I was coaching this individual on. So we began teaching through how to speak to it. And we began putting the message out there specifically for these 3 pain points. Guess what happened? He received 4 qualified leads within a matter of 3 weeks because of this exercise and closed 2 of them. His number one client that he desired to have, by simply obsessing over their pain points, he landed 2 clients, which, by the way, covered my coaching fees for 6 months. Easily covered them. He landed 2 clients with a very simple exercise. HubSpot, a popular marketing tool, found that businesses targeting a specific niche see a 62% higher conversion rate than those with broader targets. Let me be completely authentically real with you. 2024, I received Financially Simple back through negotiations, sold it for 7 figures, got it back for virtually $1. In the first 6 months of the year, we had to get our hands around what was there, had been destroyed because of various things. So it took 6 months for us to refine, get through the weeds, rebuild, repackage. And we opened the books up in July, August of last year. Last year, when I looked at the clients who were engaging with me on the various platforms, we had about half financial advisors, and the rest were in 3 business segments. And so we put out a broad content to specifically these avatars, these 4 avatars, around their pain points, and we began testing the messages. I was on a call with another one of my coaching clients. He said, "Hey, Goodbread, I noticed something." It's like, "What's that, brother?" He goes, "I've noticed that all your marketing is now laser focused to financial advisors." And I started smiling. He goes, "Man, you practice what you preach." I said, "Absolutely." I didn't know in that 4-month time period whether or not it was going to be financial advisors that my message resonated with best, whether it was going to be dentists, whether it was going to be service industries like heavy equipment service industries, or whether it was going to be auto repair companies, because those were the 3 other mixes. I didn't know where it was going to fall. And it wasn't until my coach said, "Hey, Goodbread, you're best equipped to serve the person you were 5 years ago." And I'm like, dude, the person I was 5 years ago was a struggling financial advisor who was drowning in a business. And my coach was helping me. He said, "Then why you've accomplished this once, why not lean into those financial advisors?" And guess what? It was financial advisors who kept reaching their hand up and saying, "Hey, Goodbread, man, I'm trying to find a coach. Everybody I talk to, they've never been a financial advisor themselves. They washed out, or they work for some big firm. They're an employee over there, but they've never literally been the seat. They don't want to know what it's like to deal with compliance, to talk to clients. And I need a coach who can coach me and help me scale my practice. I want to experience a 7, 8, or 9 figure runway in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I want to experience that." I'm like, dude, I could do it in my sleep. Let's go. You see, by niching down in our businesses, we can accelerate our income. Let me ask you a very candid, very pointed question. Who specifically are you serving? Specifically are you serving? Is it niched? If it's not niched, then friends, more than likely you're not going to double your income over the next 12 months. It's not going to happen. Point number 7, this is my last point, is your calendar is a mirror of your priorities. Your calendar is a mirror of your priorities. If I asked to see your calendar today and I could see it, I can tell you whether or not you're going to double your income over the next 12 months. You see, because whenever we master time management, our calendar will tell us exactly where our priorities are. Scripture says, "Where your treasure is, your heart is also," which is true. Where we spend our money tells us our priorities. But oftentimes, we as financial advisors, we'll throw dollars at things. Problem is they don't set aside the time management. So let me give you some practical advice from the trenches that can help you double your income in the next 12 months. Number 1, we have to serve clients. I know that. We have to serve clients. Stack your client days into one day, client meetings into one day. There is no reason why you cannot see 10 to 12 clients in one day. Oh my goodness, there's the gasp. I hear it. The tire just there, just let out of the tire. Friends, you can stack your meetings where 10 to 12 meetings can happen in one day. How do I know? Because I've done it for years. Think about this. Instead of having a meeting on Thursday at 10 o'clock and on Tuesday at 3 o'clock and a lunch date on Wednesday at 12 o'clock, what if you just align them and say, "Hey, my calendar is open for this and this." Well, my clients are going to leave. Well, I hear you, and I had that concern at some point in my life as well, but it's certainly not true. Think about this. Let's take it out of our world. If I were to call up today and I say, "I need to go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned," the dentist is going to say, "Hey, we have these slots available." Boom, boom, boom. Which one are you available to meet in? Well, I want to meet on a Friday at 1 o'clock. Good luck getting a dentist to meet you on a Friday at 1 o'clock. They're not going to do it. Why? Because they've been trained that Friday is when they work on the practice day. Most of them will work Monday through Thursday and only Monday through half a day on Thursday. That's the way that successful dentists work. If you have a dentist that works on Friday at 1 o'clock, there's something misaligned. Maybe they take Mondays off, or maybe they just don't know how to stack their calendar. But nonetheless, if I need to get my teeth cleaned, I know they'll give me some dates. Okay, I can meet here. Well, I can only meet after work. Well, wait a second. Why are you making me as the financial advisor stay after work to meet with you, but yet you'll go to the dentist at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Come on. Is not your finances worth more than your dentist? So I literally could stack my clients in such a way where I can meet 10 or 12 clients in one day. So my challenge to you is stack your client meeting days. Designate specific days specifically to meet clients. Number one. Number two, designate 1 day a week for you to work on your business. This is what we coach. These are the areas that if you're in part of our coaching program with, that we will give you enough work to do that week and you can work on that and drive your business forward. But you need a full day per week just to work on the business. You're not going to open up eMoney or Money Guy Pro or Morningstar or the trading world. You're not going to look at anything in the advisory space. You're going to be a business owner for 1 day a week. If you do that, then you can double your revenue. And then you're going to eliminate everything that does not yield to a doubling of revenue. The reality is we waste so much time. We waste so much time when we should be out working toward our mission of doubling our income. The average professional, according to McKinsey & Company, spends about 28% of their time managing emails and scheduling meetings. Come on. Why? Because we're hyper inefficient. Water takes the path of least resistance, friends. And unless you're intentional with your calendar, you're not going to double your income in the next 12 months. So let me ask you a question. If you were to show me your calendar today and I were coaching you and I would say, hey, let me see how you're going to double your income. Let me see what your calendar is going to tell me. What would it say about you? Does it yield the results to say, man, this person is going to definitely hit it because look at how efficient they are with their time? Or is it lackluster? Is it not blocked? Is it not positioned properly for success? Friends, doubling your income over the next 12 months is not a wish. It's not even a desire. It's a tactical, strategic decision that has a framework that you can accomplish. As I've said before, if this country boy who lives on a dirt road in East Tennessee and grew up on a dirt road in South Georgia can do it, there is no reason why you can't do it. You can accomplish this, and I want you to accomplish it. I'd love to have a success story from you of like, man, Goodbread, I started off making $150,000 this year, and I'm up to $300,000 at 12 months later. Fist bump, rock star status. You can do this, but it's not going to happen unless you move intentionally into the things which drive you. So there are 7 ways that you can double your income in the next 12 months. You may say, Goodbread, that's a lot. I don't even know where to start. May I challenge you to take a look at the academy that we have? It is powerful. We are helping financial advisors every single week drive to where their goals are. Some of the people don't want to double their income. That's fine. Some of them want to build 8 and 9-figure values. That's amazing. So if you're looking for somebody who's been there, done that, has the t-shirt, can walk you directly through, show you the landmines, show you where to go, check out the academy or hop on our free call. Until next time, may I challenge you? Go out and make it a great day.